Well, guys, here we are again on Halloween. Why are we doing this? Every year we get captured. It doesn't matter where we are, it always happens. And this abandoned mental asylum makes it worse. Well, I just thought that the creepiness of this place would cancel out the creepiness of whatever captures us. So, I thought that whoever would capture us this year would think that this place would be too obvious. Yeah, that's some really good logic. Look, we're all too old to go trick or treating, and none of us wants to hold a Halloween party. So I thought this would be. What's he doing here? Look, Mario, I don't even hate you guys. I just want to break from Bowser's shenanigans. Alright, fine. So, who wants to go first? Anyone? Anybody? Oh, yeah, I would like to go first. Listen, the only reason I'm going out of my way to tell any of this is because the story Peach the Killer is starting to make me mad. My real name is Peach. Peach is AKA Peach the Killer, and this is how I met Mario. The reason I look the way I do, and why I want to kill him. When I heard that a new family had moved in across the street, I wasn't that surprised. It was a nice neighborhood, and the house was relatively cheap considering where it was. I guess I was about 23, 24 when everything went to hell. I never really talked to Mario when he moved in. To be frank, I never talked to him until that night. But it's too soon to talk about that now. My first impression of Mario was that he was a good kid, probably got nice grades, rarely got into fights, maybe even a cool guy if he opened up to someone. His brother Luigi seemed like he put family first by the way he sat with his brother on the sidewalk. Of course, I was just guessing at the time and didn't really put that much thought into my analysis because I was getting ready for school when I looked out the window and I was running late, which was unusual for me at that time in my life because I was hardly ever late for anything, especially school. Okay? I wasn't surprised when I saw Sonic and his stooges go up to Mario and Luigi on that stupid skateboard of his. Sonic was nothing but a bully. He always picked on other franchises that aren't him. He was even the reason why my toads drove me to school instead of letting me take the bus like everyone else. Everyone had their lunch money or some kind of cash given to Sonic and his goons because of some toll that he demanded from everyone. We all knew Sonic's group had knives and threatened to use them on us if we ever told anyone about the money they took from the kids on the block. Everyone except the new kids they were trying to intimidate like the rest of us. You ever heard of a spell checker? When when I saw Sonic talking to them through the window, I just looked away. It was wussy thing to do, but I had better things to do than watch another kid hand over his money to Sonic. But curiosity got the better of me, and I looked up a few seconds later. What I saw left me speechless. Mario was standing now, and it looked like Sonic already had what he wanted. Just sit down, I thought. Don't be stupid. Then I saw Mario punch Sonic in the face and break his wrist.
Oh my gosh.
I whispered. Then I yelled, "You idiot!" My toads ran down the
Hey,
stairs
what's
and asked what
wrong?
happened. Then they looked outside and saw what was going on. Mario had already caught the fox guy, I think his name was Tails, and he went down screaming. Knuckles only went down with a single punch, since my house was across the street where Mario and his brother were sitting with the house, with the front of the house having big windows. We saw the whole thing, or at least I did. My, my toads came in after the part where Sonic stole their wallet, so they didn't know the whole truth. It was disturbing watching Mario fight. He was enjoying himself too much. I felt a knot in my stomach, like something was happening that shouldn't be. And from the look on Luigi's face, Mario didn't do this kind of thing often. Next thing I know, I hear sirens and the new kids pulling it out of there. The cops came around with the bus driver to check in on the victims. It seemed they were going to be alright, concerning the amount of crap kicked out of them. Since my Toad's policy was no cops, after Blue Toad got framed by a narc cop when he wanted to draw attention off of himself when police were investigating the case of the missing coach,
Crack.
it ended with Blue Toad quitting the force. So when we heard sirens, we went into the backyard, got into the car, and left. When my Toads drove me to school, they told me very clearly that they didn't want me talking to Mario ever. I did not disagree with them. I had art first period, so I didn't see Mario until close to the end of school. I can still see the colors in my artwork if I think hard enough, but when I try to look at anything now, it all seems gray. I guess that's the price someone pays for losing their innocence. I didn't see Mario until the last period of the day. When I did, he seemed off. At first, I thought he was just faking the joy so people wouldn't suspect him for the crime that he did, but he was really enjoying himself. It wasn't because he was excited to be at school, I could tell that much from him. The smile he wore looked sadistic to me. It was the smile of a madman. The second the bell rang, I bolted out of those doors as fast as I could. Nobody but me knew what Mario really was. A freak! The next day seemed to be passing without incident at first. Then I saw the police car in front of Mario's house.
Looks like they got you.
Nobody could have gotten away with something like that, with the neighborhood watch and everything. But I was wrong with who they arrested. Instead of coming out with Mario like I expected they would, the police came out with Luigi, his brother, in case you forgot. I was barely forming the thought of Mario framing his brother for the assault when he came out of the house yelling at Luigi. I was able to hear him this time because the front door was open. I could hear him this time because the front door was open to my house. I couldn't hear what Luigi said in reply to Mario's outburst, but it was definitely not what Mario wanted to hear. A few seconds later, the police drove off with Luigi, and Mario was left outside with his mother. A few minutes later, she went inside the house and left Mario outside. Although I couldn't hear him from across the street, I could tell that he was crying. But who wouldn't be in that situation? The next day, rumors were spreading like wildfire about Luigi. It took so long for the rumors to get started because everyone was afraid to talk about Sonic getting his ass handed to him. When it was revealed that he wouldn't be coming back to school for a few days, everyone decided to take advantage of that fact and enjoy it as much as possible. Lots of random bullshit started popping up. I heard Luigi cut off Tails' arm. Oh, yeah? Well, I heard that Luigi hit Knuckles so hard in the stomach that he raffed the blood. That's nothing. I heard that he punched Sonic so hard in the nose that it came out of the back of his head. And etc., etc., etc. Personally, I didn't want anything to do with Mario or his brother, but he just looked so alone and upset that I had to do something. So I wrote him a note telling him that he had a friend in this place and that I was going to testify at Luigi's trial about what really happened. I left the note at his desk, signed with the letter P, before class started, then left the room. When I came back, Mario was at his desk and the note was Saturday rolled around and I was home alone while my toads were at work. The kid next door was having a birthday party. At the time, I left my window open because I wanted to have a nice breeze in my room while I did my homework. But the kids were getting so loud that I decided to close my window. I was about to close it when I saw Mario playing with the kids. He was running around wearing one of those fake cowboy hats and carrying a toy gun. He looked so ridiculous I had to laugh. Maybe he isn't the monster I think he is, I thought, ashamed of myself for suspecting he could have been one. As I was closing the
Oh
window, I
my
saw Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles jump over the
gosh.
fence on their skateboards to where Mario was. Not again, I
Oh
said to the
my
open window. I saw
gosh.
Sonic and Mario exchange small talk, but I couldn't hear what they said over the sound of the kids yelling and screaming. Then Sonic rushed at Mario and tackled him. I was about to grab the phone and dial 911 when I heard Knuckles and Tails shout, "No one interrupt or guts will fly!" I looked out the window again and saw that they both had matching guns in their hand, except Knuckles had a sniper rifle. I couldn't have called for help then without endangering the lives of others. I couldn't have called 911 anyway. The batteries in my phone was dead. Mario was on his side, getting kicked by Sonic in the face when he grabbed his foot and twisted it. Sonic fell over, and Mario tried to walk back to the house when Knuckles grabbed him by the collar and threw him towards the house. I heard glass breaking, and I knew then that they were going to kill him. Sonic, you butthole! I screamed at him, but he couldn't hear me over the sound of the kids screaming. I couldn't wait anymore, so I ran to my Toad's bedroom and searched for Blue Toad's cell phone, hoping that he forgot it at home. My heart was beating in my chest, knowing that the longer it took for me to get help, the higher the chance of someone getting killed was. I finally found the phone underneath the bed. I wasted no time punching the numbers. 911, hello?
Help! There's an emergency going on next door. Some guys jumped the fence and are beating up someone. They got guns. You gotta hurry up, please.
Okay, miss, I need you to tell me the address and I'll send
Please
help right
hurry.
away. It's okay, just stay on the line. I heard loud gunshots come from next door. I yelped and dropped the phone and landed on the ground and broke. Then I ran to my bedroom window to try and figure out what was going on. But no sooner had I poked my head out the window, I heard the whoosh of a fire and the screaming. Ah! 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 I'm going to make Mario scream like that again when I find him. The only thing I can compare it to is the death cry of an animal. It was at the time for me horrifying, but now it sounds like music to me. And there's nothing I want to hear more in the world. Than him screaming. I saw a fire spew out of the house like an angry dragon. I ran downstairs immediately and got the portable fire extinguisher. When I came to, I was in a hospital bed, wearing one of those gowns that a patient wears. A nurse came in a few moments later. She she looked like a kindergartner trying to draw a dragon. She looked like she didn't want to be here. I asked her what happened.
All I know is that you were brought in with a few other kids because you fell and hit your head on a fire extinguisher.
She said, annoyed. Fire extinguisher. I raised my head. I felt bandages and a large bump the size of an orange. Then I remembered Mario.
The bird. Is he going to be alright? Listen, there's two boys that were brought in with you that had brains, and no, I'm not letting you see him just because he's your boyfriend.
I felt the heat rise in my face.
What? That's kind of unprofessional. He's my boyfriend. I'm just worried about him. Wouldn't you be worried about someone who you just saw burning alive in front of you?
I tried to keep my voice steady, but my voice quivered enough to make it sound like I was lying.
Whatever. Your two toes are here, by the way. Want to see them? What? Yeah, of course.
They didn't get me away from that nurse. And then the nurse finally left. They asked what happened. I told them everything. The fight, the note, all of it.
Ooh, I knew that Sonic was never good.
Toadette said.
Did you even read our own story? Well, what about Mario? What's his condition?
I asked.
No idea.
Said Blue Toad.
We just got here as soon as we heard about what happened to you.
I asked. I didn't think I saw anyone at the party that my family knew.
Just called us.
Toadette said.
I guess that makes sense.
It made absolutely no sense to me, of course. How would someone be able to identify me without me having any form of identification? I don't know, maybe because you're a neighbor? I looked in the doorway and saw a green dinosaur and a pink dinosaur standing in there. My toads followed my gaze and saw them too.
Excuse me, but is this Peach's room?
The woman asked.
Yes.
Toadette answered.
I'm Birdo, and this is Yoshi, my husband.
She gestured to the man beside her.
We're Mario's parents.
I sat up in my bed.
And our friend, Peach.
Toadette gestured to me.
Sort of. You're like a old rabbit with the fire extinguisher.
Birdo said. Yes, I
Yes.
replied quietly,
Is your son
embarrassed.
alright? He just came out of surgery a few hours ago. Doctor said he was fine.
I relaxed at the thought.
Oh, that's good.
I
Listen,
said.
I know what happened to Mario and Luigi on their first day of school.
Then I told Mario's parents what really happened to Sonic and his crew.
I had no idea that Mario was capable of something like this.
Yoshi said.
I'm willing to testify that Luigi didn't beat up anyone, and that Mario only beat up Sonic in his game in self-defense. No need.
Said Birdo.
Luigi's being released from prison after what happened to those boys. Oh, that's good. We're just going to say thank you for trying to help our son, Peach. It warms my heart to see selfless people in your generation. Oh, Tee, I did anything anyone would have done in that
I
situation.
said.
I'm not a hero.
I blushed. I looked down.
Nonsense.
Birdo said.
All we can do is invite you over to our place for dinner when Mario gets out of the hospital.
I looked at Toadette and Blue Toad.
Oh, it would be an honor.
Toadette said.
Oh, it would be an honor. If so, then we'll call you as soon as Mario gets out of the hospital.
We said our goodbye. We said our goodbyes, and then they left. About 2 days passed, and I was allowed to be released from the hospital. During that time, I had no contact with Mario or his family, but I heard that Luigi was released from jail, and Mario's wounds were healing. When I got back to school, I became the center of attention, more or less because I was the only one who saw what happened at the party. But the only people I told about what happened were my friends Wallow Rambo, Amy, and Archie Sonic. I didn't know what to tell them, so I told them what I saw. Sounds like Mario got his butt handled to him, said Wallow Rambo. He was buff and had long hair. He was usually the most level-headed of us. Well, at least when he went down fighting, I heard he took those idiots to the hospital with him. Amy snickered. She was dressed in red. I don't know. I kind of like the classic look better. Why are you describing what we look like if we're just gonna die in the story? He also took Peach to the hospital. Maybe she was trying to beat him up too. Ha ha ha. Sonic laughed. He was. Sonic laughed. He was that one character that Sonic fans relied on when some other character could beat their stupid blue Smurf vomit covered rat. Hey! He was one of the biggest drama queens I knew, always stretching out the truth or blowing it out of proportion. Oh my, oh my, oh my gosh! I told you I went over there to try and help Mario because something was wrong. I muttered. I was the plain Peach, blonde hair, blue eyes, completely unremarkable looks wise. Or maybe you wanted to see your loved one last time before he left to go get help for himself, Archie Sonic said in that stupid voice. I just looked at him with my eyes the size of dinner plates. What, dude? No, I just wanted to help him. Yeah, not cool, Archie Sonic. That's kind of out of pocket. Liar! I saw you leave the note you left on his desk. What was it? A confession of your love for him? Gosh, I hate you all so much. I can't wait for you all to die later in the story. Really? Dude, what the heck? Peach, that's even more out of pocket. Now stop being so serious. Wallow Rambo put a hand on my shoulder. Come on, let's get to class. The weeks went by. Everything seemed to be normal. I think Luigi even made a few friends. Everything was normal and nothing happened. Luigi came up to me one
Excuse
day
me,
and
your
told me
name
about
is Peach,
Mario.
right?
I turned around and looked. It was Luigi. Yes, you're Luigi, right? Mario's brother? Yeah. He looked a little uncomfortable. Then again, so was I. Look, my parents wanted me to tell you that Mario is getting his bandages removed in a few days, so so expect a phone call inviting you to dinner soon. Oh, well, thank you, I said. He was about to turn away when I said, Hey, listen, what you did for Mario, that was really respectable. Thanks. I heard that you tried to help my brother with a fire extinguisher. That was cool. Yeah? Well, thanks. See you around, I guess. Yeah, see ya. I was watching him walk away when I heard a little voice beside me say, "Cheating on your boyfriend, are you?" I turned around, surprised. It was Archie Sonic. "And with his own brother, nonetheless." You fake gas. Could you just shut up? 2 days passed until the phone rang. Toadette answered it. A few minutes later, she got off and told me this. "Mario is getting out of the hospital today, Peach." I looked up at her and said, "That's great. It looks like we'll be having that free dinner. It looks like we will be having that free dinner in a few days." She chuckled. A few hours passed, and I heard a car pull into a driveway across the street. I looked out the window and saw Mario's car in front of its house. Mario's home, I thought. I watched out of curiosity to see what he looked like. Dear gosh, how wrong I was. His dad got out, then his mom, then Luigi. But what I expected Mario to look like couldn't be further from what I saw. His hair looked his hair looked the same. White, leathery, and that smile. That smile was the same smile I saw when he was in class after he beat up Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles. But Mario looked right at me, into my eyes. I could feel those soulless, sadistic eyes burn right into my soul. I still shake from that memory even now as I type this. He seemed to be looking at me for hours with that smile until he looked away. My toads came into the living room and asked me what was wrong. My only reply was a long, loud scream. Then I fainted. Wow, what a wimp! Imagine looking up to her and thinking she's so cool and that she's littering me. When I finally woke up, it was dark outside. My toads weren't in their bedroom. The house was definitely quiet. I got up and went downstairs. I was wearing a long nightgown that I wasn't wearing before I fainted. I went downstairs to the kitchen. The lights were on, which was unusual. My toads always told me to turn off the lights in a room when I left it. There was a note on the table. I picked it up. Scrawled on the table was this: "Aren't you coming to dinner? Your friends are here too." I began to shake violently. I dropped the paper. I went to the living room and looked out. The lights were on in Mario's house. I knew that I had to go there, but I was terrified out of my mind. I shook my head and looked back again. I saw Mario leaning on the window in his house staring at me. Well, I could only see his hand. It was tapping against the window. Tap, tap, tap. I couldn't see it, but I could tell he was still smiling. Tap, tap, tap. I started stepping back from the window, never taking my eyes off of him. Then I turned and ran away from the window into the kitchen. When I peeked out the kitchen to look out the window, all I saw was a smear of red on the window. I turned around and looked at the kitchen. Everything seemed to be in its place, even the knives. I grabbed one of them and held on tight. Then I found the phone and tried to dial 911, but the phone line was disconnected. I had no idea where Blue Toad's cell phone was, or if it was even fixed. I didn't want to go upstairs to find it. I didn't want to get stabbed in the back while I was looking for it. And if I went to ask one of the neighbors for help, Mario could kill whoever he had captive. So there was only one choice: to go fight Mario alone. I clutched the knife tighter and went to the front door, put on my shoes and went outside. My hand lingered on the doorknob. As I stepped outside, but I knew what I had to do. I let go of the doorknob and marched across the street to Mario's house. As I got closer to the front door of his house, I began to slow down. My knees began to shake, my palms began to sweat, and I started to breathe faster and shallower. Before I knew it, I was standing completely still on the front doorstep, panting like a dog. I manned up, grabbed the doorknob, squeezed my eyes shut, and jerked it open. I stood there in the doorway with a knife in my hand and the doorknob in my left, too terrified to open my eyes until I heard a voice say,
Looks like you made it. I'm glad you did, friend.
I opened my eyes, then screamed, then screamed.
Ah!
His eyes were large and unblinking, and his smile was red. He had carved a knife into his face. His clothes were covered in blood, and I passed out. When I woke up, I was at a dining room table. My knife was gone, and when I looked up, I saw people sitting at the table. It was my toads, Mario's parents, his brother Luigi, and my friends. They were all dead, with smiles carved into their faces and huge red cavities in their chests. The smell was unbearable. It's indescribable, unlike anything I've ever smelled before. It was the smell of death. I tried to scream, but I just couldn't, and I was tied to a chair. Wait, no, I wasn't. I looked around at the room in disbelief. Tears were welling up in my eyes from the sight and smell of the bodies. Look who's finally awake. I turned around, looked beside me. Oh, excuse me. Mario was there. I tried screaming, but I didn't feel like it. Suddenly, he was beside, with the knife against my throat. Shush, 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 shush. It's not polite to scream at friends. He began sliding the blade across my face, constantly tracing invisible lines from the corners of my mouth up my cheeks in a large, grinning smile. I shivered as he did this. When I turned away from him, he grabbed the back of my head and forced me to look at the scene at the table. He grabbed the back of my head and forced me to look at the scene at the table. Now, now, don't be rude. You're insulting everyone by not looking at the pretty faces. I looked back at the table, looking at everyone with their faces carved into smiles, and some with their chests still bleeding fresh blood. Tears began raining down my face, and I began to sob. Ah. Oh, what's wrong? Mario purred. Are you upset that you don't look beautiful like them? I looked at him, trying to understand what he said. What? B- what? But I looked away when I saw his face again and looked back to the table. Don't worry. I'll make you look beautiful too. What do you say? He didn't slid the knife nowhere. I, s- I looked at him straight in his eyes, trying to hold his gaze. He tilted his head to the side as he looked back at me. Then I shut my eyes and looked away from him. Then I muttered darkly, Go frick yourself." Then I turned to look at him again. "You joker reject." "Yeah, that'll show you." "Yeah, dang, I'm cool." When I woke up, I was sitting in a hospital bed, bandaged from head to toe. Everything was spinning, and it hurt to blink and breathe. I looked around and saw an empty room. I groaned loudly because my mouth was bandaged. Everything hurt. A nurse came in a few minutes later.
Pete, can you hear me?
I looked towards her. The room started spinning even more.
Pete, I am your nurse, so Jokey. I don't know how to say this, but your your friends they died in the fire. I'm sorry.
Tears started falling down my face
No,
again. I
don't cry.
sobbed. I
Honey,
couldn't
don't cry.
stop.
You will be
I
able to
felt
believe if you do. Pete, I'm going to give you something to help you calm down, alright?
when I woke up again, I could move more and my body wasn't as bandaged as it was when I first woke up. I looked around and saw that my room had flowers in it. Some were fresh, some were dying. I tried to get up, but a nurse came in and put me back down.
Easy, Jane. You've been asleep for a while. Try to take it easy.
I tried to speak. My voice came out rough and
Dude,
sandpapery. I said,
how long was I asleep? Almost 2 weeks. You were put in a medically induced coma in order for your body to heal. I'm the same nurse you saw the first time you woke up. Give me a mirror. Peach, I don't think that's what. Give me a mirror.
I felt the hand of a mirror get slipped into my hand. When I looked into the mirror, I dropped it onto the floor. The shattering of the mirror didn't compare to the shattering of my realization. My skin was leathery and brown. I didn't have a single hair on my head, and the skin around my eyes were baggy. I looked almost as bad as Mario. Everything came flooding back for me. I began to cry harder than I ever had before. The nurse was hugging me, but it didn't help. At the height of my sobbing, I was surprised that nobody else came in to check up on me. By the time I was done, I could barely speak. Somebody came into the doorway. Excuse me, I have a delivery for Miss Page. Doggy's son stood up and went to the doorway.
Okay.
I didn't want the delivery gal to look at me. I didn't want the delivery gal to look at me, so I stared at the wall in front of me.
Someone certainly cares about you, Peach. It looks like the same person that sent you all these flowers got you a package too.
I looked around at her. She was holding a. Is that a? Is that a box of wooden toy tracks? I reached down and took it from her. This. I reached down and took it from her. The second I took the package from her, I knew something was wrong.
Excuse me, but can I have something to eat?
I asked as sweetly as
Of
possible.
course, I'll get you some food right away.
Dog is there, smiled back, then left the room. My hand shook as I opened the box, and I saw something that turned my blood to ice. It was a white mask with black around the eyes and a black feminine smile. It also had black lace covering the eye holes of the mask, so even though someone couldn't even see me, I could see them. There was also a long black dress with a turtleneck, white gloves, and a blonde wig with beautiful curls. Along along with these things, there was a bouquet of black roses and a sharp kitchen knife. Attached to the mask was also a note. Yo, fam, I'm sorry I messed up, but so I gave you this crap for free. And oh yeah, you dropped your knife. Sorry, Mario. By the time nurse dog came back, the present was hidden under my bed.
Those were just flowers.
She seemed to be disgusted by them, so she threw them out. I thanked her for that. That night, when everyone was either asleep or gone home, I sneaked out. The only thing I had to wear was that dress, so I put it on, and I found a pair of shoes outside in the hallway, forgotten by some careless nurse. I wore the wig to look less suspicious. I didn't know where I was going, and I didn't care. When I finally stopped walking, I was in front of a cemetery. I went inside and found 2 tombstones, Toadette and Blue Toad. I sat down in front of the tombstones and cried some more. Cry some more! When I finally sat up, the sun was beginning to rise, and so was a new chapter in my life. I took the mask and put it on, then picked up the knife and held it as tightly as I did before. Then I turned around and looked at the rising sun. On that day I swore my revenge against Mario the Killer, and on my new name, Peach Everlasting. For I want the only thing to be more everlasting for Mario than his madness, to be his death. And if you say that, and I'm not a bad guy, but if you said that this was a Friday Night Funkin' reference, I'll let Mario get you. Ever since that day, I have been trying to find Mario and kill him, hunting him like the animal he is. I have a particular set of skills. I'll find you, Mario, and I will kill you. As for the photo that has been popping up of me saying, "Don't go to sleep, you won't wake up. Look who fell asleep at the sleepover first." That pretty much explains what I want to do with Mario's victims. Prank 'em! Yeah! I don't care about you. I don't care about you, bitches. Yeah! Whoever said that I killed them so they don't get killed by Mario. It's a gross overstatement. I mean, I am a peaceful racist. I mean... So this is my story. Whatever you accepted as facts and logic is not up for me to decide. Now, if you excuse me, the sun is going down, and the hunt is beginning once more.